Game finally comes out
Yeah,
like
we're like,
on the 17th of this month. We're
I
in
know, right?
March.
We're like 10 days late.
I know we're 10. This is actually the 29th, and the game is coming out, and the game has come out. Final Fantasy 15. Finally, after like
Well, the
9.
demo has come out.
Well, right. Yeah, we wish that the final game was out, but actually just a demo. In a good amount. I mean, like a 3-hour demo. So
Yeah, yeah. It's not. I mean, it's topping demos that stay in my mind are the Force Unleashed demo from 2008,
yeah,
which which we all know I played probably close to 50 or 60 times.
jeez.
Um, the Arkham Asylum demo,
Mm,
even the infamous one demo,
yeah,
and this is topping all of that in content.
jeez.
Like seriously, and replayability because it's just like you can just keep running around and attacking stuff. But yeah, man, so it's finally in the hands of those who deserve it.
Come
Because
on, Square.
we've been waiting for Versus 13 since the dawn's light.
It has been. I mean, ever since when we started doing podcast 3 above back in 2009.
December 2009.
Yeah, and we had already
Before the release of 13.
yeah, before the release of 13, we were doing the podcast 3 above, and it was me, it was you, and then it was Sheehan, and it was just like that was the game that we always fixated on, and
Yeah,
and not just 13, but more verses because we were more interested in Noctis and that dark side of Final Fantasy.
yeah,
Now, the way it was presented was that at the offset, when they did the Fabula Nova Crystallis journey, or they had this huge like conference up in Aspen or something.
in Aspen.
Yeah, Aspen, Colorado. So it was like this is like this huge conference somewhere, like in like I don't know Geneva or whatever, and everybody's talking about how 13, or rather not everybody, but Square Enix. I refuse to just call them Square because they're no longer the Square that of old, but Square Enix would go, hey, we got 13, and then we got Versus 13, and then we got Agito 13. So those 3 games were supposed to be a collaboration. They were all supposed to mix, like there was gonna be the complete package. It was like, okay, you got 2 awesome games on PS3, and then you got the PSP working the Agito. So you
Oh,
cannot escape. It's like it's international. It's like pimping. You cannot escape it.
You can't escape Pimpin', baby. Pimpin' is international.
It is. You could not escape it. You couldn't go. You couldn't be a Sony gamer and escape
Right, no
Final
matter
Fantasy.
what platform you were on.
Yeah, no matter what you were on, it was there. And then
And it was 13. It wasn't like just like Final Fantasy in general because Dissidia was out on PSP or coming out on PSP
right,
because it actually wasn't out yet. But
yeah, it was Final Fantasy 13 versus 13 and 13 Agito. But all that
went
failed
down the toilet because of
because of
because
money.
of because of money and because of Square Enix idiocracy.
Yeah,
It's like because before 13 came out, they were announcing 14 online.
yeah,
And 14 online and their their very fragile heart of glass Japanese pride
ugh,
is what caused us to be in the mess we're in. Otherwise, because the short synopsis, the super short synopsis is that Versus was announced in 2006, showed a
yeah,
trailer. They had no assets for it other than that trailer.
mm,
2 years later, they ain't got nothing else. They're just starting production.
yeah,
Then here comes 13. 13's finally coming out. So they're like, wait, we gotta get this mess out fast. So
mm,
pull everybody off of Versus to help finish up 13. So 13 comes out December 2009. Then 2010, okay, back to work on Versus. They work for a year. Here comes 2011. 14 has come out and is horrible on PC. So they're like, crap. We gotta rebuild the entire game. How are we gonna do it? take the staff from 13 from Versus and put them on 14. What we're gonna do in the meantime, 13 ain't getting good reviews because the stupid Americans talking about the voice acting. So what we're gonna do, our Japanese pride, it can't be damaged. So guess what? We're gonna outsource to a third party place, and we're gonna make 13, have them make 13 too with the what they call it, the Crystal Tools engine.
Crystal Tools.
That's what they called it. It was the Crystal Tool. That's like the proper name for it. Then
Redonkulous.
it is. Then, so while everybody's working on that, that's all of 2011 gone. Here comes 2012. Well, we gotta say something because we're about to announce 13 too that nobody asked for.
Right.
So in the middle of 2011, here's an announcement at the what was it? The Fabula Nova Crystallis conference.
Yeah, they had a freaking conference.
It was
with
what was it? January 11th or January 15th, 2011. I think it was January 11th. It was like 111101, whatever.
So they had a conference, invited all the press, and had people there.
Exactly.
Woke people up like in the morning. Like get up.
Like us. Yeah, we was up. I remember getting up early for work, sitting at the PZ early to see all this information. And then all I heard from you was like one word: Final Fantasy 13 2. I was like, what?
I know.
It was crazy.
Gears.
But not only that, so that's when they debut the footage of Versus on PS3 that was really the footage from a year before, from the 1 year of production they did.
It was.
And that was the trailer. Then, not knowing that the whole team's not actually working on the game, they're working on 14. Then, here comes 2012. So it's like, alright, 14 about to come out. But wait a minute. Because we're hearing about these next generation consoles. And it's like, well, alright, dang. What are we gonna do? It was like, well, we barely got 13 up and running Versus in the first place, so we might as well start all over. So they started all over in 2012.
Yeah.
Basically, all they had the concept art and story elements, that kind of stuff. But like, as far as game assets, nothing. So they start all over. They bring in Hajime Tabata, who just finished Type 0, which Jito 13 was renamed because as soon as they decided, hey, alright, we gotta make 13-2, well, that means we're just gonna go ahead and do 13-2 and 3.
Right.
So get rid of Jito. Jito 13 can't be associated with 13 no more. We gotta make that its own thing.
Right, but did you notice that, just to kind of like, not to cut you off, but did you notice that they still made 313 games?
Exactly, because that's what they said, because that was the compilation.
Yeah. It was supposed to be a trilogy, but it was a trilogy that was a more interesting concept before.
Yeah, because it was supposed to be based off of more or less the same mythology, but completely different worlds, completely different characters.
Yeah.
As opposed to a direct sequel with lightning in all three of them.
Yeah, it would have been cool to have I remember I was talking before on the podcast, the podcast right above. It would have been really cool if, depending on which order you play the games, would be the final outcome. So like if you have utilize the memory, the save file, like that's something that's been kind of like left to the wayside with game developers nowadays. Using that save file. And besides Mass Effect, I think that's it. Mass Effect was the only game that utilized it. And
the developer said it was so difficult. So I bet no one else is ever going to do that again.
Probably. But it would have been really interesting to see, like, say you purchased if it all came out the way that Fabula Nova Crystallis was meant to be, and you purchase. Let's say you get Versus first, and you want to get Versus, you don't want to touch 13 yet. And you play through Versus, and all the way at the end, you get a choice. You either corrupt your character, or you do good, or, you're kind of somewhere in the middle. And you do that through paths that you could take, not like straight up questions, like, do you want to be evil? Just, through the way how you've handled yourself in the game so far, it'll rank you kind of like, good versus evil thing. have a simple meter like that, and then the final outcome would be, let's say you're evil, and then when you pick up 13 and you play 13 and you go through the game, whoop, the final boss, it's you. It's like you're Noctis character, the final boss. Oh, he did this, and like now he's evil, and it'll be like all your same stats, all your summons, all everything, and you gotta go against him.
That would have been awesome.
And then you could bring that over the PSP. I know the PSP wasn't popular, but could you imagine the PSP 2? You know, the
Vita.
Bring the Vita over, and then have that like, okay, type O on the Vita. Now you can take your save game from your PS3 and use it on the Vita with which would have been, you know, a Jito. And then on a Jito have like some type of game where, you know, a mini game or something that you can unlock that'll give you both, you know, outcomes or like, you know, weapons and stuff from both games or something, or even change the mythology of the game. Like have the story be different, you know, like if you've played both of the ones from PS3, have the story be affecting the portable one.
Yeah, they'll never do that.
I know. Yeah, I know. No one's gonna do that. No one's gonna want to spend the effort because, like, just like I saw this video on the internet today. It's like it's not about art anymore. It's more about dollars. So that's why there's like 40 billion Assassin's Creeds, and no one's gonna go and start, you know, trying to be artsy with games anymore because they just want to fill their pockets. That's all.
Pretty much. And speaking about filling pockets, this demo is actually pretty good. So finally, we're playing this mess. Wait, and remember, from back in the day, the lure of Versus for me was that it wasn't turn-based. Because back then I did not like turn-based.
Yeah, until you played 13.
Right. Well, 13 was different, and people are gonna have opinions about that. But 13, in my opinion, was great, and the battle system for it was great, and the upgrade system was even better. But So anyway, right, so I was like, all right, yeah, we're going to play, because the whole thing about 13 was the Jokers just busted in. It was like, good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
For real.
We are tonight's entertainment. Joker
Insanity.
wants to know. But, so yeah, well, that's what happens when you wait 9 years for a game. So, played the game. Played the demo. I've put 7 hours into it, which for those who are playing it, they're probably gonna be like, oh, that's nothing. I'm only at level 36 or something like that.
Yeah.
But the game is good. The graphics are great. What I'll tell you is that looking at the video I captured directly off of my PS4, and I'm just looking at it running on the PS4 right now. The videos that you see online, the game looks a whole lot better than those videos are looking, because the textures get washed out in the compression, like not like bad, but noticeably.
Yeah.
Like when it's running on actual hardware and you're watching it live, it looks so much better. The combat is good. It is, you take a little bit getting used to, but once you get used to it, it's great. The weapon systems allow you to switch up, like, because essentially Noctis has in the demo, and he has 5 swords, and you can change the order that those swords are in, and that will change his combos essentially, instead of, you know, but what I realized was when I changed it, and it completely changes combat.
Yeah.
Completely, to the point that I changed it back to what I had before, because like it was just like it changed it so completely that I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. But that's my own fault. I just gotta play more and get used to it.
Got a minute.
The next thing, the sound in it is great, obviously. The summons, the summon in the demo is off the chain, as you have seen.
It's freaking amazing.
I mean, I can just imagine the other Eidolons in the game, like doing stuff like that in different variations, is gonna be awesome.
Are they called Eidolons?
I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know.
Or is it just going back to like Final Fantasy VII?
It might be going back to like Final Fantasy VII, where it's just
simplistic.
You know, whoever.
Yeah, it's
but
it's a crystal.
Yeah, there's also crystals. And at the end of the demo, there is some concept art and a little, kind of side video telling you something else, and they make an allusion to another character.